first witness.
Yes. The prosecution would like to call Edward Snowden to the stand. Sorry.
All right. Order enforced.
Okay. First of all, Mr. Snowden, I have to ask what made you want to leak the information about the NSA or the organization that you work for?
I believe that the American people had a right to know that their private lives were no longer private. They were being monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Mr. Snowden, are you familiar with the term red flag?
I am.
And how do you define the term red flag?
A simple and everyday word that the NSA uses to monitor your day-to-day actions that they believe is a security threat.
Can you give a few examples?
Let me think. Terrorism, hacker, military intelligence, cornflower, artichoke, fish, lacrosse, and many, many more.
Mr. Snowden, do you honestly think that the word lacrosse is dangerous?
Define dangerous.
Causing injury or harm to someone's life?
In that case, no. I do not think that the word lacrosse is dangerous.
Okay, then why do you think that it would be on this list?
So that they can gather a more broad population of citizens to follow.
Why do you think the NSA uses simple, everyday words such as these?
To monitor as many Americans as possible.
Very interesting. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm finished.
Dr. Cross. Rebuttal?
No, we just have a question for the prosecution. Is there a source on where those words came from? Is it just Edward Snowden's just not word out?
You don't go to an actual question. You call the question of legitimacy to the source, and if they don't answer it, they look back. But you can't go to an actual question.
Okay. So I'm questioning their legitimacy of their source.
You have 60 seconds right now to give any sort of argument that counteract Snowden's testimony.
This is your chance to rebut anything they said. If you have anything else to add, now's the time. Excellent. Is there anything else you want to add?
Nothing else we'd like to add. Just like
Okay.
questions.
So we would like to present to the defense a source of all of the red flag words that we have from the Business Insider, and I would require you here to see the source. So as you can see by the source, the words are considered to be somewhat illegitimate because there are words on here such as artichoke, cornflower, or as we stated previously in our interview with Mr. Snowden, lacrosse. So the source is a legitimate source, the Business Insider. So.
Okay, so please record the evidence. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your vote? Prosecution, would you like to call your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution calls to stand Michael Rod. Please state your name for the court.
Michael Rogers.
What is your occupation?
I'm the director of the NSA.
Does the National Security Agent abide the law?
Of course, one of our commitments to the citizens is that we will adhere to the spirit and the letter of the Constitution and the laws and regulations of the United States.
Do you believe you followed through with this conviction?
Yes.
Do you know the outcome of the Supreme Court case Katz versus United States?
Yes, it was found that the warrantless wiretapping of public phone conversations is illegal.
How can you justify removing private forms of communication without a warrant?
We were simply trying to find information to protect the U.S. citizens.
So you broke the law.
There was no Supreme Court ruling on warrantless wiretapping of private forms of communication.
Are you aware that the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act requires warrant for online surveillance?
Yes.
Do you still believe that you followed through with your commitment?
Not in this instance.
Do you admit you broke the law?
Only for the good of the people.
Why were these laws enacted?
The NSA was formed to protect the people.
How can you believe you're protecting the people when you're breaking the very laws that were enacted to protect them?
We're doing the very best we can.
Do you believe you're above the law?
No.
Why are you willfully breaking the law?
Objection. The question before this, it was a leading question. What was the question for?
How can you believe that you're protecting the people when you're breaking the very laws that were enacted to protect them? Ground and rebuttal. Although my witness just stated that they believe that it was formed to protect the people. So I just wanted to connect his previous statement with the next question. Okay. So you believe?
It's Friday. Continue.
Okay. Well, that is all. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, rebuttal by defense.
Yes. Prosecution's testimony is relevant because the warrantless wiretapping case 10 years ago, the NSA has been through several evolutions of its program of surveillancing people. And even the quote that I said in my opening statement, when it comes to telephone calls, nobody's listening to your calls. That's not what this program is about. What the intelligence community is doing is looking at phone numbers and durations of calls. So 10 years ago, they might have been doing what's warrantless, but they're not invading people's privacy anymore. And they're doing it for the better of this country. And President Obama said that quote.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay. Prosecution?
So the defense is stating that they did not break the law in any way, but we have specific evidence from the LA Times that they did warrantlessly read private emails and listen to phone calls. And no matter whether or not they're only monitoring the duration of the call or the area code, that is still illegal because the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act specifically requires warrants for all online surveillance. And the fact that they did not have a warrant means that they should be punished for this violation.
Prosecution, would you like to call your next witness?
Yeah. Your Honor, I would like to call John Locke to the stand, please.
Here's John Locke.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is John Locke.
And what exactly is your profession?
I am a well-known philosopher.
Do you have any ideas regarding people in society?
I believe that people are their own sovereign entities and they cannot be controlled by a government.
Interesting. And what are your views on this property in this said society?
Property is anything owned or created by a person.
What are some examples of this property?
Thought, material, objects.
What about email and phone calls?
Yes, that would be property.
So do you think that the government has a right to monitor these phone calls and emails?
No, I do not. As I said before, people are sovereign entities and they have a right to privacy from the government.
What if it's for the greater good?
In my opinion, the greater good is reached when a society is an environment of trust.
Can this be reached with the NSA wiretapping?
No, because it induces an environment of mistrust.
Thank you very much.
Defense, would you like to offer rebuttal?
I would just like to say that what better does that natural right that
Go to
they're
decorum in the court, please.
what good are these natural rights if they're being infringed upon by a terrorist group? And if their NSA is doing their duty to fulfill the people's needs, life, liberty, and property, then what's wrong with that?
Prosecution or another?
So, what exactly is life, liberty, and property? It's not just your own personal life, it's your livelihood, it's your privacy. Your liberty is your privacy. So what about the life, liberty, and property that you're talking about right now? What if that's considered your email and phone calls and your private lives that the NSA is looking into? It's basically just that. What does it mean to anyone? It's a difference of opinion in a certain way. Locke himself stated in the second treatise on government that property is anything that anyone can own. Your liberty is what makes you who you are, and your life is your livelihood as well. So the NSA has no right to infringe upon it.
Thank you. Prosecution, do you have another witness you'd like to call?
Yes, Your Honor. We would like to call Mark Klein to the stand. May you please state your name for the court?
My name is Mark Klein.
And what is your occupation, Mr. Klein?
Well-
Excuse me, sorry, what was your previous occupation, Mr. Klein?
I was a technician with AT&T.
And why is that past tense?
I no longer work for AT&T.
And why is that?
I revealed information that AT&T was working in compliance with the NSA to install surveillance software to monitor phone calls.
Why did you do this?
Because the world deserves to know the truth about the organization that claims to be protecting them.
And what truth is that?
That the so-called National Security Agency has been spying on us, and they force common companies, such as AT&T, to comply with them and violate the privacy of millions of innocent phone customers in order to attempt to find a terrorist threat.
Do you believe that you did the right thing?
I believe that I did.
Thank you, Your Honor. No more questions, please.
Would the defense like to offer a rebuttal? No? All right. Prosecution, do you have another witness? Does the prosecution ask?
No, we have one last piece of evidence that we would like to present to the court.
Go ahead.
So I would just like to make it clear that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states in Article 12 that no one shall be subject to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attacks upon his honor or reputation. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attacks. As you could see from Edward Snowden's testimony, the NSA's searches are very arbitrary and very random, and that we should be protected from these arbitrary searches.
Would you like to present that to the court?
Yes.
Does the prosecution rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Oh. Go ahead.
In reply to that, the people cannot have 100% privacy and security at the same time. It's just, you have to sacrifice one for a little bit, one for the other. And obviously you don't want, you either have NSA do it properly rather than terrorists do it just force it.
So the defense is trying to say that they have the NSA violate our rights, so the terrorists still violate our rights. And I don't see a difference between the terrorists and the NSA because they're both going to violate our rights. And the fact of the matter is that we don't know for certain that the terrorists will attack us right if the NSA stops or if they even obey the law. The defense is just trying to paint a reasonable picture of fear into your mind.